What is the marketplace? It's this secular world of where we conduct our business, whether it's owning a business, whether it's working for someone else, but it's how we get our money. It's what we do to make things happen. And so we need to know, how do we put faith in the marketplace? But I think before I can really talk about faith, I have to talk about grace, because grace and faith have to work together. So, we've heard so many cliches along the way in this Christian walk, and we take them as our own, and we believe them without having any proof or any fruit of those cliches. But the reason that I say I have to talk about grace first is because grace creates and faith receives what grace has already created. So now let's talk about, what is grace. Simply put, grace is Jesus. Grace is God's unmerited favor, and grace is what Jesus has already done for us. The Bible tells us in 2 Peter 1 and 3 that God has already given us everything pertaining to godliness and life. And how has He given us that? Through Jesus. So, in order to receive that grace, we have to operate our faith. And it's simply believing that we already have what God has provided for us. So, when we're conducting our business, what we have to do is we have to know that prosperity is yours. Why is it yours? Because of what Jesus has already done for us. Successful business, it's already yours. The promotion on the job, it's already yours because of what Jesus has already done for us. Now, this segment was titled Faith Works in the Marketplace, but I want to talk about works because we go through life and we say the cliche, faith without works is dead, and you got to put the work in. But what is the work? The work has already been done by Jesus. Jesus completed everything. Everything that we will ever need, everything that we ever want in life has been already done by Jesus. Our work is to believe. The work that we have to do on a daily basis is maintaining our spiritual identity, to know that Jesus has already completed the work for us. So now we have to receive. That's our work. It's not from back in the day with tradition, when we had to think that we had to toil and go to God and beg for this and sweat. That's operating as a sinner and not operating in our position of who we are. Now that we understand what grace is and who we are, then we take that, and that's our faith, and we go to God in a different posture. Now that we understand grace and we can receive it, our faith says that I go to God praising Him already from a place of victory, saying, okay, God, I'm going to start this business. You gave me this vision. So I know that you are going to provide everything I need to make sure that I have a successful business. Instead of going to God trying to make Him move, we now go to God with our faith, receiving the grace that He's already provided for us. Um, a lot of times in business, I think that as women, and especially as women of color, we deal with trauma. They talked about trauma in the previous segment, but I think that trauma trickles over into our uh, work life and our business life. And I say that because as women, and as women of a lot of women of color, we've been told no, or we've heard that they're going to tell us no. So we stand stagnant in a position, not walking in our identity as who we are, so it holds us back. But here's where we have to activate our faith in the marketplace, because when we realize who we are in God, we understand that it's already been done. So now our faith is to believe that Jesus has already provided. And then we walk in our victory. We receive everything that we need. My equation for success is grace, faith, and then you get manifestation. So the grace is knowing that it's already done. Your faith is your belief and the fact that God has provided everything that you will ever need. And that is how you get manifestation. Because from our faith, we go to God in a different position when we accept the grace that has been given to us. When we The enemy's greatest job is to rob us of our identity as believers. Because if we actually know who we are, then he can't prevent us from getting the things that have already been provided for us. So our work, I'm going back to the work when they say faith without work is dead. Our work as a believer is to maintain our place of victory that has already been provided for us. So when trials and tribulation comes in your business, in your workplace, the work begins by maintaining your place of victory. When we understand that we have already been given the victory, we go to God in a different posture. We deal with our battles in a different posture because we already know the end is that we have the victory. Um, I'll give you guys an example. Yes, I'm a business owner. My husband and I have had this business for 11 years. When we started the business, just a little bit about my background, I've been in public relations, marketing, and human resources. At the time that we started the business, I was working in the secular world. I was working for a national nonprofit organization. And I went to my district manager first and I said, my husband is starting a business. We had been five months into the business. And I said, but it's getting taxing because I traveled a lot with the nonprofit and trying to start a business. It was a lot on me. And she said, no, don't give up your job because you're going to need health insurance and somebody's going to need a steady income because you just don't know what's going to happen. So my husband said, we got to go full force and believe God in this. Well, I struggled for a minute because, the world system says you need stability. You have to have this. But my spiritual side said, well, God gave my husband this vision and I trust God. So I had to say to myself, what are you going to do? Are you going to fully trust God or are you going to go by the world system? So I had to activate my faith and start thinking about what I believed and what I knew to be true. And what I knew to be true was that God was my source, not the business, not my husband, not the national nonprofit, but God was my source. So once I got my identity and I said, okay, Lord, you are my source. I went to the organization and I said, listen, I'm giving you guys 30 days. My husband started a business, and I wasn't afraid to tell them the vision from God. I said, God had given him a vision, and I have to support this vision. And I'm going to give you 30 days to find my replacement. If you don't find my replacement within 30 days, I will still come back on my time and on my dime and train my replacement because I want to make sure my territory is taken care of. Well, that was a walk step of faith because at the time we only had two customers, two clients. We started this business and we had two clients 5 months in. So maybe about 4 days later, I got a call from Human Resources and they said, we just want to thank you for the work and the diligence that you've given us over the years. And we're happy that your husband started a business. And what we're going to do for you, because you've done so much for us, we're going to pay you for the next 6 months and allow you and your husband to keep your health insurance. Now, that is God all the way. Because how do you leave a job and then they tell you they're still going to pay you? But I sowed a seed of grace because I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to train the person free of on my dime, free time, because I trusted that God was my source. And God said, you trusted me that I'm your source. So now here's your harvest. I'm going to take care of it. I had to recognize my identity as a believer and know that Jesus said, I have already provided everything that you will ever need. Now you just need to receive it. My husband and I live our life and we go through this business every day and we say that we just have to receive what has already been given to us. I go by the saying, grace creates and faith receives. Everything that we've ever believed God for, He's already given it to us. Our faith is to our faith is when we take the step to believe in what we've already received. That is how you work in the marketplace. That's how you put your faith. If you're starting a business, you know God has given you that vision. Use what God has already given you, your talents, and you go to God now and you say, God, you've already given me the talent to start this business. Now give me the wisdom that I need to bring forth manifestation. See, everything that we need has been given to us. We just have to ask God how to receive it. When we come from a place of reception and not trying to create, that's how we get manifestation. So I would advise you all to walk in the grace that has already been provided for you and keep and know that your faith is your belief. You have no more work to do. We cannot operate like the world system as sinners and think that we have to sweat and toil. When you are a believer, the work has already been done for you. The only work that you are required to do as a believer is maintain your place of victory. And that is telling yourself, it's already done. Now I need to receive it. God, give me the wisdom. Show me the doors that I need to walk through. Connect me to the people that I need to be connected to. Whatever instrument you need to use, God, use that instrument. Take me to the place that I need to receive what you have already provided for me because it's already done in Jesus' name. And that's all I have for you now.
Jesus, 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 Jesus. I hope somebody's taking notes. Come on, come on. Grace creates, faith receives. Grace creates, faith receives. I want to clarify something, Natalie. Because I know I just appreciate this so much. Um, are you saying, and I'm just because I'm going to ask the question. Are you saying we don't have to do anything but believe?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm because of course you can't sit there and just think that it's going to drop out the sky. So
Mm-hmm.
let's be clear. What I'm saying is that we don't have to, for years in the church, we've been taught, oh, you got to go tall, you got to go lay prostrate before God.
Performance.
You're not
Performance.
yeah, you're not praying hard enough. That's performance and that's work. And I don't want people to get confused with that. I'm saying that part is over. You don't need to do that because Jesus has fulfilled all that you just need to receive. But you have to put in natural work and effort. Okay, God gave us the vision for this business, but we had to hone our skills in this business. My husband was already a police officer, but I in turn had to learn things about law enforcement and security in order to be successful in running this business and marketing this business. So that was my work in the natural. But
Mm-hmm.
in the supernatural, in the spiritual realm, I have no more work to do but receive.
Mm.
So, yeah, let me make that clear. In the natural, you do have the physical steps that you need to take, and which is what you were saying earlier, Tyra. Supernatural plus the natural equals manifestation.
There you go.
Because basically, God, you have already given us the supernatural, and I'm going to combine my natural, and now we're going to get your glory, which is manifestation.
Yeah.
So we do have work to do. And so that could be if you want to start a business, you remember I said we go before God and in a different posture. So now instead of going before God saying, "Oh Lord, please help. I want to start this business. Help me get this, help me get that." Because we understand our place in grace and who we are, we go before God and say,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Lord, for opening the doors for me so that I can meet the right people to help me get this business off the ground. Thank you, Father, that you've given me the wisdom that I need to market this business because now we know that He's already given it to us. So I'm not going to Him begging, I'm going to Him praising and receiving what He's already given to me. So that's my work.
Yeah, I think that's so important. One of the things that comes to mind when you say this is that we were talking about one of the things I had to realize years ago when we talk about performance is permission. I think that what we've been taught to do is what we've been taught or what we have been taught. Not everybody's been taught this, but that we're still trying to get permission to do the things that God has already anointed us and gifted us to do. And so when you said I'm sitting here waiting on a release, I had a lady said, I'm waiting on a release. She said, I was at one place, now I'm at another place. She said, but I think I'm going back to the other place. I said, why? She said, I'm waiting on a release. And I said, release to do what? She said, I release to preach. I'm called to preach the gospel. I'm waiting on a release to preach. And we were at the time in a public place. Literally, there were many people on the street corner at this particular time where we were standing. There were people. And I said, girl, I said, look at, I said, you see this? Come on, the harvest is plentiful. She was waiting on permission to do the thing that God had already anointed her to do and
Hmm.
gifted her to do. And sometimes we do this now, even in business, we're
Right.
waiting on somebody. Reg he's a police officer. He's already anointed. But this is what I love about it, because I can say this much, I know he has 20 something certifications that he got after the fact.
Right.
Okay. Come on. It didn't stop
That
there, right?
that's the work. See,
That's the
we
natural
have
work.
to, that's the natural work. And that's why I wanted to clear up. There's the spiritual work, there's the natural work.
But don't
Spiritually,
do Jesus work. Jesus
you
did that.
right. And that's what I was about to say. When we say that we have to wait on permission in the spiritual realm, or there's more work to do, we're basically saying Jesus didn't do enough. What
Mm,
he did wasn't good enough. So now I got to go back and I need to do it and I need to go before God and beg him. No, 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 no. Anytime your mind starts to tell you, let me go plead and work spiritually and I got to pray harder and I got to do this, you're nullifying what Jesus has already done for you on the cross. So you're saying that you could do it better than Jesus? I don't think so. But
mm,
in the natural,
mm,
you have to make sure that you are perfecting your skills. The Bible says, study to show thyself approved. So that's your natural work. If you want to start a business, you need to research and figure out, how do I get this business off the ground? What do I need? If you want to market that business, if you're not a person that can talk to people and market, then you say, God, send me the person that I need to fulfill this task. You
mm.
already know that it's going to be done if you're operating in your grace and knowing that he's already provided. So now you go before him and you say, okay, Lord, you gave me this vision. Now I need you to provide the provision. And that's going to be the people, the resources, the education, the knowledge. That's your work. To go before him and say, okay, God, show me what direction I need to go in. Because see, he's not coming down off of his throne. People always say, oh, I'm a pray and I'm a pray so God can come down and move heaven. No, God is done.
Yeah,
Everything that is going to happen in your life and happen for you is going to be based on you taking action to receive what he has already provided for you. He's not doing anything else. It's on you now.
yeah, yeah. I think that's so important. I love it. Our theme this year. Everybody can see it. I have it up there. Reinvest in you. And I struggled with that, Natalie. Now, I can tell you this and be honest. I struggled. I even struggled. Now, if we're going to be real, I struggled with the word shiro, if you remember.
I remember.
Mhm. Because I've struggled with the word shiro. I really struggled. We were already serving people on Broad Street. We were
Hmm.
already doing this, and I wanted to do more for the women because I was feeling like, oh my God. Now I work in music. I work around nothing really. I'm mostly men, right? And even in
Hmm.
ministry, it was mostly men in leadership. So I was like, God, whatever, women. And so basically, like you said, I wanted to put my smart friends in the room because I realized that we all have different strengths. And it was like,
Hmm.
man, I get something from Nat, and I get something from Jade, and then I hear Nessa, and then you know what I'm saying? It was like all of this thing. But like you said, we had all of these pieces. But the thing about it is, in order to really receive that, we had to have an investment. We had to reinvest. Now, the reason we say reinvest is because we invest in stuff. I just wanted to put it out there that we invest in stuff all the time, but we have to reassess where we put our time and dollars and resources and what have you. And so what I saw you guys do, I'm bringing it to this. What I saw you guys do was you talked about it, you jumped out and you stepped out and you did it, but you also invested
Mhm.
into, you believed God enough about you and what He said about you that you reinvested the time that you had into that company. Come on, and put that thing right into your house. And now, come on, we got another generation that's being blessed by that reinvestment.
Right.
And you get what I'm saying? So when we start thinking about it in a sense of I'm already investing. I'm really, when I'm stepping on that job, I'm believing by faith that they're gonna pay me in 2 weeks. I'm already walking by faith. Come on, this ain't no guarantee, right?
Right.
We don't realize that, but we have a faith in it, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that that's important too. That you all did got the shirts and whatever. I'm looking at the excellence. You made an investment or reinvestment from what you the excellence you were doing somewhere else into your thing. Can you hit on that for a second? I got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Well, oh, well, that's the thing. First off, my pastor always says, uh, how can you want God to do something for you if you can't be faithful on somebody else's? And this is talking about people who want to start businesses or you want promotion. If you
Right.
can't be faithful on somebody else's job, how are you going to be faithful in your own business? Now, notice I said that this organization paid me 6 months
Mm,
after I left and allowed me and my husband to keep our health insurance because they were grateful for what I did. So that meant that I was faithful with that organization. And
mhm,
I gave a lot to them and I worked it as if it were my own. And I took care of the things that I needed to take care of in excellency. When we started this business, there were things that when my husband left the New Orleans Police Department, that they did for him that they wouldn't do for other people because he had a good record when he left the police department. They had admiration for him and they had respect for him. But
mhm,
that was doing the work in the natural because and I can just say this, our uniforms are different from any other security company because Chief Surpass and the state board decided we can trust him to have this uniform and to do this because we know his character and his work. That organization decided to pay me because they knew my character and my work. Those are the things in the natural you have to horn in on and focus. You have to make sure that you're good there because God has already provided for you in the supernatural, but you have to, in your flesh, you have to make sure that you're diligent in the things that you want to do. It's gonna take work. We got two works that are going on. We got the work in the spiritual that Jesus has already fulfilled, but we have the work in the natural where you have to be diligent and you have to be persistent. And your persistence is not coming from a belief within yourself. Because if we believe that we do it, we'll never get it done. And it's going to be stressful. It's going to be hard.
right.
Your persistence has to be in the knowing and the belief that Jesus has already done it for me. So I'm standing in my place of victory. And I'm not going to stop until I get the manifestation because he completed it. I'm gonna say this. Even in our business, we have challenges. My backdrop is showing. Well, one of the greatest challenges that my husband and I faced was to believe to conceive our child. We were on that faith journey for 8 years. But one day I was driving in my car and I said, Lord, I already know that you gave me victory. I said, so if I don't have manifestation in this area, then you're telling me that Jesus didn't go to Calvary. And we know that that's not true. So because I have faith in Calvary, I must have manifestation. Now, that's the conversation that I had with God the Father because I had to remind him because of what Jesus did on Calvary, I must have manifestation. And that works in every area of your life. I don't care if it's the business finances, starting the business, the bank, the loan, whatever it is, because of what Jesus did on Calvary, I must have manifestation. And that's where your persistence and your belief comes in.
Mm,
That's your work.
The work to believe, the work to hold on to what God says. The enemy, y'all, is trying to. I love Pastor Price, Apostle Price will say he would try to break you with your faith. That's the
Mhm.
enemy's job, to break you with your faith. But that's one of the reasons that we do at Shiro, y'all, because we are not apologizing for our faith walk. I'm
Right.
telling you, we're not apologizing. The manifestation is ours. And you know, and we're using that word, and we're not using that word in the new age sense. We're not sitting up
Mm.
here, you know what I'm saying, rubbing nothing, trying to whatever. We understand where our help comes from. Come on, where our hope comes from.
Yes.
Any believers on the house, come on, we're not, and no, nothing else. Our faith is in God. And thank you so much for being a blessing. You know, we know where our help comes from, and I've seen God do some awesome things. I wanted you to kick this off this morning, be a part of this to get us stirred up in this area. Thank you. And
Thank you.
thank you for the push. Thank you for the push. Amen. Again,
Amen.
I love you. God bless you. I pray the blessings of God on your life. If you have any security needs, please, y'all, make sure you contact security experts and leaders. That is her company. That is their company, and it is a blessing. They are excellent, and I thank God for them. God bless you. Thank you, Natalie
Thank
Rowe.
you. Thank you. Thank
God
you.
bless.